Hi, it's Jen again. Today I'm going to do another just talk over my speed digital paint here and just share some thoughts that I've been having about the process. One thing that has been kind of coming up in my personal life and my professional life, I work at a library, just a disclosure there, is the whole idea of doing what I would consider like commercial work, what normally people would call like professional work, versus doing like hobbyist work or personal work. So, to tell you honestly, if I were to go back and talk to myself when I was in my teens and 20s and tell them what I'm doing right now, like, oh, I'm working at a library full time and I am doing my artwork and creative projects on the side, just for my own personal like benefit without any monetary design in mind. Then old, or I should say young me would have said, oh my goodness, like that's depressing if that's my future. That's like myself in the future is like a loser or somebody who like did not make it, who was not a good enough artist to work professionally. The thing that I want to try to convince myself when I was younger is that I am actually much happier now than I was when I was working professionally, when I was getting paid to do art. For me, and I think I've brushed upon this before in the past, working professionally sucked all of the joy that I had in doing my art. As I mentioned before in the past, when I used to write my comics and do my art and my stories when I was in middle school and high school, there really wasn't the type of social media that we have today. And I really wasn't sharing my artwork that much. And I was happy. I was happy doing my art. I was having fun. Sure, I could use some improvement, and I was always wanting to get better. But I was generally just enjoying the process. You know, like getting better was always a goal, but I wasn't like stressed out about my failures or my the road that I had ahead of me to improve wasn't like a torment. It was just, you know, something to look forward to, something to keep striving towards. You know, it was all fun and games until I started getting into the environment of trying to think of how to monetize my work. And this is when art for me became like really stressful, really depressing. Like I don't even know how to quite describe in words, like, because it was kind of a slow transformation, because it almost become like a sunk cost fallacy, where it's like the more time that I put into doing my art, to honing my skills, to going to school, and to pursuing art as a professional, on a professional level, the more I felt like I had no choice but to keep pursuing art on a professional level, or else, you know, all this money and time that I spent refining my craft would be worthless. And here I, you know, would have spent all this time trying to teach myself how to draw and create stories. And if I don't make it, then, you know, I will just be a complete failure. And like the first like 2 decades of my life would have been a complete waste of time. That's kind of how I felt going into my 20s. And so when you have this kind of like desperate attitude, you start thinking, you know, you start sacrificing a lot of things in order to like make this investment happen, make this like professional career happen. So whether that be like drawing things that you're not really that excited to draw, or tell stories that you're not really excited to tell, or whether that be getting underpaid, or going, decades without the comfort and security of, healthcare, dental care, retirement plans or savings. Going decades without that, you just kind of put it off because you're like, well, someday, all of this will hopefully pay off and I will be able to have a stable life doing the thing I love. And all this time, I was losing sight of the fact that what I was doing was no longer what I loved, because it was such a source of stress for me, constantly feeling like something I was I was doing wrong, because it was so hard. Life was just so hard, paying my bills and making ends meet. And, that starving artist lifestyle, I wasn't starving. At no point was I actually on the street and starving. So I'm fortunate enough in that regards. But it was a really, really, really tight kind of budget. I'm still a super frugal person, even to this day, where, I'm writing my grocery list and I'm like, okay, should I have the luxury of pickles this month, or should I just kind of forego that and live without pickles, because you don't really need the pickles. I just really like to have pickles on my sandwich, but I don't really need that. So let's see what my total adds up to this week on my grocery bill, and that will determine whether or not I decide to have the luxury of pickles. Yes. That sort of thing. So anyways, I feel like I have to keep on hammering this point, because society just constantly kind of tells us that if we're not being productive in a capitalistic way, if we're not capitalizing, we're not making money on the things that we are doing, then somehow the things we are doing are worthless. They have no value to society. And I would just strongly disagree. There's whole industries, right, dedicated towards, meditation, towards relieving stress, towards finding meaning in your life. There are people who turn to religion, or they turn to self-help, or they turn to, going to the gym, whatever it is that they're trying to do to kind of decompress and, have a more positive outlook on life and relieve their own, stressors in life and things like that. Maybe it's, maybe it's food, maybe it's addiction, maybe it's video games, whatever it is, there are whole industries towards, that we spend our own money, and time and money, trying to achieve this better state of mind. And I would argue that for me, doing my artwork for solely personal reasons, taking all the consumer aspects of doing my artwork out of the equation, became a source of meditation, of decompression, of just joy in my life, that I don't feel like I need to go out and watch movies. I don't even really feel like I need to go out and buy games and stuff and all other things that inspired me to work on my project anymore. So whatever money that I'm not spending on, buying things to fill up my life with meaning and joy, I'm working on my project, so I'm in a way paying myself forward in that regard. So I don't feel like I need to make any money on this project, and that's what kind of frees me up to really just enjoy the process, and what makes it worthwhile to me. So in the end, this other people and my former self would probably look at where I am right now and consider me to be a failure, and you shouldn't follow any advice that I'm saying. That's probably what former me would have said. But current me says I am at a happier time in my life than I've ever been. Doing art just for myself. I don't do commissions. I have done commissions in the past, and I have an idea of like what I feel like my time is worth to do a commission, but at the end of the day, that's not how I want to spend my time. So right now, like, even if somebody were to want to overpay me for what I would consider a commission to be a fair price, I wouldn't take it. I'm just not interested in like selling my artwork. Um, I just don't think you could pay me enough. And I'm not trying to say that my art is like, oh, so wonderful that, I deserve money for it. I'm just saying that I don't want to sell my art right now. I just want to do it for myself, and that's what makes me happy. And so for me, this is all the success that I need in life. So, um, you know, I'm not saying that you can't go a different way than where I'm going. I'm not saying that you can't enjoy working on commercial projects. For me personally, my type of style and stories are not really that marketable, I guess, or I don't know how to market them, or I'm just not interested in marketing them. I just want to tell my own authentic stories without having to worry about those kind of things. So this is the route that I chose, and I don't think that that makes me any more or less professional in the sense of like, does my work have value? Do I have value? Does my time have value? I don't need that kind of validation in my life. I don't need society to tell me whether or not my time or my existence has worth. Former me in my 20s, I needed that validation. I needed to feel like I had made it professionally, that I was, my skills were marketable, that would be a form of validation to say I am a professional artist because I'm getting paid for this, so therefore I'm a real artist versus like, I don't know, like an aspiring artist. I don't care about that label right now. I don't define myself by just being an artist. I hope that that others can be just as comfortable with who they are and what they're doing in their life, that they don't need that outside validation either, if that's not something that's bringing them joy. We only have one life, at least that's what I believe. So I want to use my time wisely, and I want to live as peacefully as I can. So thank you very much for listening to my ramblings, as always. I hope that you can give yourself permission to enjoy the process, and I hope that that you enjoyed watching my videos. Thank you so much. Take care now. Bye-bye.